I'm Jamie, and I'm the owner, CEO of Devoted Columbus, and welcome to our first podcast. This podcast is called Devoted to the Dirty Details. It is PG, it's not dirty. It's just the dirt on weddings, so it's the insider information. So hopefully you guys will get some great information from us, learn a little bit, and contribute. We'll let you know how to do that later. But today, and hopefully always, I have with me two lovely ladies. I have Tammy, who has been with my company for 8 years now.
Hello.
And her background is in events and venues, and she brings a lot to the table, as well as a great sense of humor. She's my comic relief.
Please don't put that pressure on me. Do not put that pressure on me.
Hashtag truth.
Yes, yes. And I have Michelle, who has been with our company for 3 years. She runs our wedding planning division, and she's basically my Xanax and everybody else's. So she is great when it comes to helping engaged couples on their wedding day. So welcome, Michelle.
Yeah, thanks. Fun to be here.
And today we are going to be talking about, I'm engaged. Now what? What do we do when we're engaged? So hopefully we'll have some stories along the way, but we kind of want to get you where it all started. And you're engaged. I think you need to take some time and let that soak in. I mean, don't rush into the planning. And I don't know about you guys, but you know, engagements can last, and especially we've got COVID going on right now, so there's no rush in this stuff. What's a typical engagement time, do you guys think, that you should wait before you start moving on any planning?
I think it varies depending on the person, because you've got those people who are like, I've been planning for this my entire life. Me and my mom have been mapping out everything I want for 10 years. We've just been waiting for this day. And then you have those people who are like, sweet, we're engaged. So anyways, what are we doing tonight? You know, it's like no big deal. So you kind of have both ends of it. I don't know. How long were you guys engaged before you did anything?
So I jumped right in.
Of course you did.
You're the planner.
I did. Well, I didn't know the first thing about planning a wedding when I got engaged. So I just had to research, and I had to get with my mother-in-law, who I don't think I could have done this without her. She was just instrumental in getting me situated and handling things for me. But yeah, I just jumped right in, and I had everything planned immediately, and then it was chill mode until like the couple months before. So for me, that had to work. I wanted to get everything out of the way, but I mean, I don't know. It's different for everybody, though. You're right.
It is. I mean, I planned a wedding long distance, so I was in Columbus, and my wedding took place in Connecticut. So I had to start early, and I feel like those that are wondering when to, well, now we're jumping into starting wedding planning, but earlier, actually the earlier the better. There's no early time for, you know, especially with COVID, we've got many people being pushed into 2021, so you've got to look at things earlier now. Your vendors are going to be booked up, your venues are going to be booked up, so there's no really too early doesn't exist. Wouldn't you agree for the planning part?
Oh, no. I wish I would have stretched my engagement out for 2 years, you know, because then I would have had more money, I would have had more time,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have, you know, jumped into anything. And what's the rush? Seriously, in the big picture, what's the rush?
No, you're right on that. I think I think once you decide on when you're going to get married, then you can determine when to start planning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that I wanted to be married, about a year and a half from when I got engaged. So I may have started planning immediately, but I wasn't rushing to get things done within 6 months or a year. So I think that's something to take into consideration as well is, how fast do I have to do this? Because take your time in your engagement, right? Like enjoy your engagement because you'll never have that time back. And it's kind of like a pre-honeymoon phase, really is. It's you're enjoying that, preparing for that next step. But so don't jump in and try to get it done in 6 months. I definitely would say don't try to plan a wedding in 6 months if you can help it.
But you can do it.
You can.
I wanted to ask this to Jamie, and I'll ask this to you too, Michelle. When I worked at a venue years ago, I remember but the shortest time I ever got was like a month. And I think it was because the couple was in the military or something, and they basically said, we have 1 month, we need to get this done. And I remember telling them, I can do it, that's easy. The hardest part is going to be making your choices. Because really, all wedding planning is 9 months of making choices. Decisions. And then changing your mind 1,000 times. What's the quickest turnaround you guys have had on a wedding? And how fast did you get it done?
So I did an Indian wedding. It got moved up because of unfortunate situations where the father was diagnosed with cancer. And we moved this wedding up. We had 2 months to plan an Indian wedding of 300 plus people. And we did it. I mean, it can be done. Your hardest thing is your venue. You might need to recruit some more help. But, certain circumstances like COVID might make you want to move it up, or it might make you want to push it back. Who knows? So, I don't know. What about you, Michelle?
I think one of the first weddings that I did with you, we had about a month and a half for an out-of-town bride. I mean, her family was here, but she was personally living out of town. And so we had about a month and a half to plan that wedding, and totally possible. But they did, I will say that they had a very deep connection with the venue already. So the hardest thing to book was the venue, but that was already taken care of. So everything else falls into place. It doesn't take a whole lot of time to book other vendors. There's plenty of them, especially here in Columbus.
Yeah, so. And there's plenty of venues too, which I don't think, engaged couples know, but we've got over 350 in Columbus. So it's just a matter of a lot of deep diving and research. But some things you want to consider when you do get engaged is to make sure that you're not announcing that on social media before you're telling your family. So let's make sure you share it with your immediate family before you get too excited. I know the selfies are super, you just want to get it out there, but just think about grandma who's not on Facebook and you want to tell her first. So definitely that's one thing you want to consider. What are some other things?
I would say, and of course I'm saying all the things opposite of what I did when I got engaged a long time ago, but maybe don't spiral and jump the gun, because I know for me it was like, okay, what's my theme? What's my colors? Where am I going? What am I going to do? What's my dress going to look like? What's this? And I spiraled. What I wish I would have known then what I know now, obviously, and that's to take piece by piece and not take it all in at once. And I know brides today are probably like, I'm engaged, I'm on Pinterest. Yeah. Here we go. And then one step at a time. Every idea is better than the one after it or before it. And then the next thing you know, you're spiraling and you're overwhelmed and you slam the computer down and throw it out the window because it's too much. And then it's just stress. It's stress. And you're already stressed and it's only been that day. So
and I think to your point, Tammy, it's some of the things that should come later on in the planning, because they're the exciting things like the dress and the decorations and the pretty colors and sparkles, right? So I think some brides just want to jump in and focus on those things when those are the things that overwhelm you. So leave those further down the line is my 2 cents anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I think one of the biggest things up front too is the budget.
Oh, we don't want to talk about budget because nobody wants to talk about budget.
Well, the budget is going to rule everything.
It's true. It's true, but it's kind of one of those taboo topics where we're like, ooh, I want this big, beautiful wedding, but am I going to pay for it? Is mom going to pay for it? I'm weird to ask parents who's going to contribute. It is a tough. It really is. What do you suggest? Like, how would you do it? Like, what is the ideal way to do it? And I understand I didn't do it, and most people won't, don't and won't. But seriously, what's the ideal conversation?
Personally, for me, I think my mom told me since the day I was born that I'd be paying for my own wedding. So I kind of knew. And I knew they really like alcohol, so I knew they were going to pay for the alcohol. And so I had it down. But if you don't have that information already as a known factor, you do need to sit down with your family and find out if and what they would be contributing. And you just have to ask. And maybe you're going to pay for that wedding on your own, and maybe they're going to contribute something in it. But keep in mind, those that contribute money get a say in your wedding.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, if I know some couples that, they want to rule everything, they want it their way.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to pay. And that makes sense. But if your mom is going to pay for the wedding, then she definitely is going to have some say in your wedding. And, that's definitely okay for some, and some don't realize they get a say. So just have these conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a tough conversation. I know with my family, P.S., I paid for my entire wedding by myself. And it's not because they didn't want to, but we just didn't have, or they didn't have the money, to throw the wedding that I wanted. So I saved and I scrimped and I ate macaroni and cheese for an entire year and I made it happen myself. But my point is this, even if they had money, if I would have come to them with that weird, awkward thing like, hey, are you guys going to, give us a little something, something, I think I would have then been more frustrated because I could very well see them say, yeah, we'll take care of something or we'll help out. But it's going to be hard to get them to give you an exact amount. You know what I mean? And that's where I think it would be really hard because then you're still up in the air. Like, does that mean faux flowers? Does that mean real flowers? Does that mean real flowers? We don't know. So, yeah, tough conversation.
Yeah, I'm very awkward about money. So when it comes to that conversation, I never wanted to have it with my parents. But so I went in thinking, whatever's in my budget, whatever is in my fiance's budget, that's what we're gonna go with. Mm-hmm. And so it was a little easier to set that budget because we knew how much we could afford. But what ended up happening is, on my dress appointment, my mom just stepped in and bought my dress. So I didn't have any expectations, and it was, these nice little surprises along the way that things were, they chipped in. So yeah, it was nice. It was nice, but I also didn't have unrealistic expectations that my budget could cover something, and it couldn't. But I also didn't go within my budget. I didn't go to a fancy hotel downtown. When I chose my venue, I knew that was going to set my base for my whole budget. Yep. So
50% of your budget.
Yes,
likely.
Correct.
Your venue is about 50%. So, it's funny. I had a couple, it was just a mom and a daughter, of course, planning, and you could tell they were already stressed, and this is just the beginning of their planning process. And the mom goes to the daughter, listen, I will buy you a BMW car if you want to just elope. And I'm thinking, oh my God, take the car. Take the car. And she's like, no, I would never. And I'm like, oh. It's not the first time I've heard that.
You know what? When I was probably 20 some years old, I probably wouldn't have taken the car either. Because from the day I was, able to put on pretty dresses and watch Cinderella, I think that's just your dream. Now looking back, I'm much older. So of course I'd be like, yeah, done. Give me the car.
Older and wiser.
Older and wiser, yes. But at the time, you could not have convinced me. So even though now I think my ideas are different, at the time I would have been like, no, I'll take the party.
Mm-hmm.
It's a damn good party.
Oh, it is.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, I paid for it myself. We charged on a credit card. Get your points, people. But it is such a good time. It's a great party. It's a great celebration with all your friends and family and people you love. And hopefully it's the best party you ever have. And it is the first party that the two of you as a couple throw. So this is just, it's something exciting for the two of you to do, and you got to keep that in perspective and keep it exciting, keep it happy, and keep it fun all the way through. We here believe in that, and we definitely want to make sure that people have fun during the planning process, so we kind of revolve our company around that.
Well, that's why we got into this business, I think.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, when you got married, did you think to yourself, oh, I want a big blowout wedding with 250 people, or this is probably one of the first things people do when they get engaged is it going to be small and intimate? Is it going to be this big, or is it going to be a big blowout? So
size matters.
Size does matter. I mean, and sometimes smaller is better, good things come in.
Small packages.
Smaller packages, exactly. Don't tell my husband I said that.
Especially during COVID.
But no, seriously. So, is it going to be a big party? Is it going to be a small party? That will kind of gear everything else that you do from then on out. You know what I mean? The size of your party. So
I think couples really struggle with that question up front.
Mm-hmm.
I do. They think they want a small wedding, and then it spirals out of control because, sister's second nephew twice removed, gotta invite them. But with every person you add adds to your budget. So you have to take that into consideration. You gotta feed everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I know personally, I knew I wanted a smaller wedding, 150 people or less, and we ended up at like 115. And it was perfect. I wouldn't change a darn thing about it. There's plenty of people out on that dance floor.
Yeah, and just remember, if your guest list is 200, guess how many are showing up? 80%. Yes. So they're not all coming. It's just a matter of who gets out of it, or for whatever reason. So now with COVID, though, I think those numbers are. I would love to know what the difference is now on a 200 wedding now. How many are actually showing up now?
Mm-hmm. I hate to say it's probably more like
40, 50. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Depending on the age group, I think.
Yeah.
You invited
100% age group. So I know you guys have it's a tough time right now to be engaged, and maybe that's why you might make it a longer engagement. Maybe if you want to get married now, you do get married now and have that party later for that amount of people that you want. But there are some decisions to be made. I think dates are going to be hard for 2021, so you guys might start looking at 2022.
Yeah,
It's funny because before I moved to Ohio, I never knew this was a thing, but here in Columbus, dates revolve around OSU football.
They sure do.
Oh my gosh, that was a big shocker.
Yes. Yep. And if you have your event on a football game, you better have the TV on somewhere.
Yes. And if you're a
Yes.
a bride that doesn't want the TV on, you might be in trouble.
You're going to have some fights with someone. So, yeah.
They're outside on their phones.
Yeah.
Basically
They're all
hiding.
Right.
Yeah, that would be tough.
Yeah.
But it like the bye weeks, if you pick a bye week, you need to pick that early.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. Yep. Venues book up for that one particular date.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about saving some money. Maybe, when you're considering a date, definitely think of those off months. So you're looking at a November, December, January, February, March. So those are your off months. And then consider an off day. Obviously, it's not a Saturday, but Fridays, Thursdays, Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
Brunch. Why won't somebody invite me to a brunch wedding?
I want to be invited to a brunch wedding so bad.
If I ever get married again, which hopefully I never will, but I would love a brunch wedding.
Mimosas.
Oh my gosh, Bloody Mary.
Yes.
Eggs.
Oh, yes. Yes, please. So if anybody's listening, we will be happy to come to your brunch wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Your entertainment for the day. Get people out of the dance floor.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. Then you're home in time for Sunday night TV, and oh my gosh, I would love that. I mean, to me, I can't believe more people don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, consider how much you may save on alcohol costs too.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about the alcohol costs, but you're right. You're saving a ton of money.
So I have to say, I have had a client who they were very, very concerned about the alcohol consumption at their wedding. So they chose to have a brunch wedding because people are less likely to drink and consume alcohol, which then saves you money. So yeah, it's a good idea to save money there.
And we know alcohol is one of the bigger cost factors for a Saturday night wedding. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But and I know this is not a popular, but lunch weddings, I know they're not popular. But if you do want to save money, you could do that.
Well, venues can typically kind of flip the space so they can
Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, do more weddings on that day if you have your event earlier. So you do save some money with that as well.
Yeah, and you're looking at, if they have a food and beverage minimum, sometimes half the amount of that food and beverage minimum on those off days. But don't think you're sneaky if you're trying to choose a holiday Sunday, because they do consider that as a Saturday, so they caught on to that quick.
Oh yeah, if you come back with a great idea that Memorial Day weekend, I'm going to have my wedding on that Sunday, or Labor Day weekend.
Wrong.
Sorry, I'm not as clever as you think you are.
I mean, you can, but you're not going to save any money.
No, that's not true.
No. So we've covered dates, budget, social media, when to post it. If you have engagement parties, this is a time to think about engagement parties.
How about choosing your bridesmaids and your groomsmen, your wedding party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that after you figure out the budget, because that does add to it. But once you figure that out, yes, choose your bridal party.
Did you guys have big bridal parties?
No.
I had nobody.
What?
Nobody.
A lot of people are doing that, though.
You know what? I'm weird about, you mentioned, Michelle, earlier that you're weird about money, and I'm weird about money too. And I know how much goes into being a bridesmaid because I've been a bridesmaid in other people's weddings. So you're buying the dress and you're putting out all this money for traveling and the parties and for the bride and everything else. And first of all, I got married the first time in Orlando, Florida. I had a Walt Disney World wedding, and so the fact that I was already asking my people to fly out there and force them into a vacation was kind of a lot, and I didn't want to ask them for more. I felt weird about it, and even if I would have had a local one, I think I would have felt weird about it too. I'm just weird about asking people to spend money, so it was just me and him, and that's it. You know.
And that's okay. And I think a lot of couples are going that route. And it not only saves you money, but it saves your family or your friends saving money, and they can actually go and enjoy the day, because it is kind of a job, let's be honest. So everybody plays a role, or even if it's a small role, they have a role. So they get to work on your wedding day just slightly.
Let's be honest. For the weddings you guys have done, if they show up with a huge bridal party, does your stomach kind of tighten up a little bit?
Yeah.
You know what happens is it really takes away from the bride's day. Yeah, honestly, because they all have issues.
You're right.
And we have to deal.
All right, here's
with
the dirt.
We have to deal with all their issues, and we want to focus on the bride and her day, or the groom and his day.
There's just a lot of questions and a lot of. It's usually with big bridal parties, I see a lot of family in the bridal party. I don't know if you've noticed that. And there's a lot of drama, especially at the rehearsal. A lot, and you're trying to include everybody, but it just becomes a lot. And then the couple gets just stressed out because they're answering questions.
They get stressed.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, for sure. I've seen brides stress out because they have to ask his sister, or they have to, they feel obligated to ask this person, and that sucks when you actually have to do something. That's taking away from your day. It's not their day, it's your day. So I'm with you. Smaller is better when it comes to bridal parties. And from a logistical planning standpoint, from this side of things, less is better, because you're right with the drama. Have you ever found that there's usually two best friends fighting over who could be the better of the best friend to the bride that day? You know that movie Bridesmaid? It's kind of like that.
Yes.
Well, that was me and my sister's best friend when my sister got married. Oh, I was bitchy. Okay, I'll make the story quick. So my sister gets married, and she asks her friend to be in the wedding, and I'm still not even remembering who was maid of honor. I think it was me, but Nikki was all up in the planning. Nikki was with my sister every set. Nikki was like the good girl on Bridesmaid. You know what I mean? And of course, I was the slacker, and Nikki was skinny, and Nikki was pretty, and Nikki was everything, and Nikki. Anyways, so it, even though I'm sure, or maybe I didn't, I think I was kind of snippy and bitchy that day, but I find that I was punished for that through the years by planning other people's weddings and having other bridesmaids. Let's see who could be more bossy, who can, there's always one. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's like being kids again.
Yes.
That drama over
Yes. Like, I'm her best friend. Here, let me
Yeah.
get this for you. Here, let me get this for you.
Yeah, the more people you involve in that piece of the wedding, the more drama you're going to have. I mean, I think I've done one wedding where there was absolutely no drama that I could see, and I have no idea why, but it was just the perfect wedding I think that I've ever done, and that's crazy to say. I probably will jinx myself for saying that, but there's no drama, and they had a decent sized bridal party, and there was family, and it was great. So, but usually it's not.
Yeah. So did you guys? I didn't even get your answer. Did you guys have big bridal parties or no?
I had a matron and a maid of honor, and he had 2 best men.
Perfect.
And
That's
it was
awesome.
perfect.
Oh, that's
It was just
awesome.
perfect, yeah.
Good.
So
How about you, Michelle?
I think we ended up with 5 on each side,
That's
so it was a
pretty
medium.
sizable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean not 11 on each side.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
yeah. I mean it was decent. So, but I don't know about anybody else, but I kind of struggled on who to pick. I'm not super close with a ton of girls,
Mm-hmm.
so I struggled with that really hard picking.
I want to say something with that too. I feel like a lot of couples feel like they have to have their family in it, or they feel like. So my brother got married, and I didn't know his wife at all. So I stood up on my brother's side.
Love it.
Because he's
Love
the
it.
one I know.
Yes.
Why would I stand up on her side just because she's gonna be my sister-in-law, right?
Yeah.
So it just made sense. So I think people need to get away from traditions and do what makes sense.
Mhm.
And pick people because they mean something to you, or they're somebody in your life, not just to pick them.
What if she would have said, Jamie, I want you to stand on my side because I want you to be somebody special to me?
Oh, then I would have to say
Okay,
yes.
I'm just wondering, because maybe that's part of it. If it's insincere, forget it. But, maybe that's just their way of saying, all right, we're familia now. You're with me, who knows?
But how much do you love that trend, though, of the mixed bridal party?
I love it. I love
the guys
it.
on the girls' side, the girls on the guys' side.
Just
It doesn't
intermixed. I
matter
love it.
who they are.
Yeah.
They mean something to you, whether they're a male or a female.
I love
So,
it. I love that
yeah.
trend. I want to see more of that.
Oh,
I
me
do
too.
too. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
see it a lot at like LGBT weddings, a lot.
Yeah.
But you don't see it in the traditional weddings, and I wish I would see more of that. I love that intermixing of everything.
We need to make a big plea, like a big, we need to get it out there. Brunch weddings and mixed bridal
Yes,
parties.
absolutely.
Yeah,
It
those.
needs to make sense.
Mhm.
It needs to feel right for you.
Okay, well, with that in mind, I'm going to segue into this. Okay, so a couple years ago, my husband's cousins got married, and pretty much the entire family was invited except for my husband's brother and his wife. And they'll never listen to this, so I hope not. But they weren't close. In fact, I don't think they ever even spoke to the couple. You know what I mean? They don't come to family functions. They're out there. Well, we find out months later after the wedding that those two are salty because they were not invited to the wedding. And so then the aunts and everybody's all feeling awkward because they weren't invited. And in my mind, I'm like, well, if you don't even pick up the phone or call or anything else, why would they spend $80 a head on people that you don't really aren't even close to? So
Communicate with.
but what do you say to that? You know what I mean?
Well, that's why it gets so awkward when you do your guest list, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
we talk about whoever foot the bill gets to make decisions. So in those cases, if mom and dad, of the bride foot the bill, they're going to make those decisions for you. But when you're paying for your own wedding and you have to make those decisions, you're just like, I mean, I just remember being like, I don't know these people. Do you know? No, but my mom wants to invite them. And it's just, gosh, it was so hard because I wanted to keep the guest list low. But then that's how it gets out of control.
That is crazy. It's almost like, have you ever heard that saying, like, go into your closet and put all your clothes on the hangers backwards. And then after a year, after you've flipped them, those that you haven't touched, you throw away.
Right, yeah.
You know, with a guest list, it's like, have we talked to them in the last 2 years? Have we communicated with them? Have we seen them? Do they like our posts on Facebook? Anything. Come on.
Yeah. But I think it has to go back to who's paying for that wedding, though. Right?
Okay, yeah.
I mean, if mom wants to invite her best friend that you met once when you were a kid, like, and she's paying for the wedding, like, she's gonna have to. That's what's gonna happen. I mean, you can have a conversation. Have a conversation.
Yes.
Have a conversation. Yes. But I mean, unfortunately, I don't know what you can say to that, but yeah, but it does get awkward at family functions and people hold grudges because I think people hold that tradition in, the generations before us have that tradition and they expect us to follow it.
Yeah.
And I think we need to change some of that. Yeah. Some of it.
And think about how many people my mom invited. Remember, I paid for my own wedding.
Oh,
remember that?
And I probably need to go call your mom after this.
Yeah. But I have to say, her friends were a lot of fun.
And
so it made my wedding fun.
Did they bring envelopes full of cash for you?
No, that was my husband's side.
I was going to say, if they brought good gifts, maybe it was worth it. I don't know.
Well, sometimes you can blame it on your venue, too. If you fall in love with a venue and it can only fit 150, that's a great excuse just to kind of say, I can only have 150 people at this wedding. Now you've got to decrease your numbers due to COVID, so find out what your venues now can hold. But yeah, a lot of things to consider.
I know, and you have so many hard decisions in your future. Yeah. So congratulations!
Yes,
hard decisions in your future.
You know what though? Planning a wedding will absolutely change your life.
Yeah,
it will give you so many skills that you did not have before. I mean, I've gotten jobs because I've planned my own wedding.
Wow,
I have, because there's
so
so
much.
This
job.
Well,
oh great! Now you're going to get calls. I planned my wedding. I want to be a wedding planner.
Hey, I mean, it has to start somewhere. But no, I mean, and I have a day job that is not all weddings, but I did get promoted several times because it takes so much to successfully plan an event.
Yes,
so
it's not easy,
and so many skills to make it come to fruition.
Yeah,
it really does, and you build those things. So even though it's difficult, just like any difficult situation, you will hopefully come out the other end learning something and being stronger for it.
I wish that when I planned my wedding, because I didn't know anything, I wish that the resources that we have for brides were out there now. We've got how many Facebook groups where brides can talk to each other? We've got our wedding resource center here that basically has every question, every answer to every question. We've got us as resources to call anytime with just questions. I didn't have that.
No.
Back in my day, we just had to flail and hope I made it down the aisle okay.
Well, here's a question.
We didn't have anything. Seriously.
Here's a question for you then. Knowing what you know now, what would you have changed about your wedding?
Oh my God, everything. So much. One of the big things, which I think we're going to talk about next week, is my shopping for my gown. I did it all wrong.
Save that for next time.
I will save that for next time, but you guys are going to truly be embarrassed for me when I tell you just how wrong I did everything, from choosing my gown, from knowing what a minimum was, what all the lingo was. I knew nothing. And so some days I wish I could go back and do it again just because now I know.
And you can Google everything now.
You can Google everything, or,
you can ask.
You can ask us. You can come on here. Yes, that's what we do, is we've got all of these different resources, and we didn't have them back then. So I think that's why I love my job so much, because now we know it all.
Yeah.
We know most of it.
A lot.
Yeah, we know a lot. We don't know it all. There's always something that's being thrown at us.
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
Whole different world.
That got slapped us in the face.
Yeah.
Yes, we all got punched in the throat with that one. So
Yeah. So with that, Devoted Columbus does have a ton of resources for you, and most of them are free. So we definitely want you to take advantage of those. Visit devotedcolumbus.com. You can sign up for everything weddings. You can get coupons. You can look at our online magazine for some great local vendors. We have wedding planners and we have wedding day assistants. And I know that's a little different concept now. So a wedding day assistant is just like an extra pair of hands. So those are for our DIY clients that just want to plan everything themselves, but maybe they're having nightmares that keep waking them up a couple months before, and they're like, "Oh my God, I need somebody. I
They
can't
don't
do
know
this.
who's going to do
I can't
what
do
on
this."
the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, then we get these calls 1 to 2 months out, and we just put an extra pair of hands on that wedding day to do all the crap you don't want to do.
no bride should ever
No.
work on her wedding day.
Yeah. So we have that division, and we do bridal shows called the Wedding Experience. You have to watch out for that. We do resale markets to save you money. My goal, this is a time that costs a lot of money for everybody, and we want to try to help save some of that. So that's why we throw those coupons on the website, and we have these resale markets, Facebook pages where you can buy stuff from brides that have had these for their past weddings, and you can actually go to physical resale markets. So check out the local events and all that stuff. But as much as we could probably talk all day, we're going to have to wrap this one up, and we are going to talk about dresses next week. So and dress shopping, and we'll get to hear Tammy's story. So definitely stay tuned.
Oh my gosh, if you are stressed about your dress, email me, please. No, seriously, because I can tell you what I've learned, or email us with any questions you have, even if it's not about the dress. info@devotedcolumbus.com, and we can talk about whatever questions you guys may be.
Yeah, that you have throughout, even if it's not about gowns, whatever. Send it to us, and we'll definitely make sure we cover this on our weekly podcast. So stay tuned for Devoted to the Dirty Details. You can find that. We'll post it on our website as well, and we look forward to chatting with you guys again. Bye.
Bye.
Right.